Spider-Man movies leave you humming their themes long after you've left the theater. From the sweeping orchestral power of Tobey Maguire's trilogy, to the adrenaline-fueled tracks in Andrew Garfield's films, and the playful yet emotional scores of Tom Holland's era. The soundtracks elevate every swing, every fall, and every triumph. But here's the question. What makes these soundtracks so unforgettable? How do they capture Spider-Man's essence while amplifying the emotional beats of the story? You might think it's just the explosions and fight scenes that define a superhero movie, right? But here's the twist. Music's a lot more than just background noise. It's a key part of storytelling. A great soundtrack not only accompanies the action, it deepens the emotional connection between us and the characters. Let's start with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Danny Elfman's score is the gold standard for superhero tracks, perfectly balancing grandeur and intimacy. The main theme, with its soaring strings and pounding percussion, doesn't just sound heroic, it feels like Spider-Man. Now shift to Andrew Garfield's era. Hans Zimmer took a different approach, blending electronic elements with a traditional orchestra to create a modern, edgy vibe. The Electro theme alone is an exceptional example in creating character through sound. You bet. Electro's theme uses distorted, almost chaotic tones to mirror his fractured psyche, making his scenes feel electric, literally. And then we have Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Michael Giacchino brings a youthful, energetic sound that captures the playful side of Peter Parker. But it's not all fun and games. Giacchino knows when to slow down, delivering heart-wrenching pieces, like the score during Aunt May's final scene in No Way Home. During our previous episode in the Great Stories series, we dug into how to play with the audience's emotions. In this video, we're taking the next step, because soundtracks are one of the most powerful tools for emotional storytelling. Let's take this journey together through the most iconic soundtracks in Spider-Man, exploring how each era uses music to define its tone, enhance its storytelling, and connect us with the beloved characters. What makes a soundtrack truly iconic? It's not just about the notes, it's about how those notes interact with the story, the characters, and the emotions on screen. Spider-Man's soundtracks don't just underscore his adventures, they become a part of his identity. Now it's time to break down how each era of Spider-Man uses music to create its unique sonic fingerprint. Let's dig into Danny Elfman's score in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy. Elfman's themes are grand and operatic, reflecting the larger-than-life quality of director Sam Raimi's vision. The main theme starts with a quiet, mysterious melody, then swells into a heroic anthem. It mirrors Peter Parker's journey, from an ordinary kid to a hero with the weight of the world on his shoulders. But Elfman doesn't just write for Spider-Man. He writes for the world around him. Listen to the tense, almost sinister undertones in the Green Goblin's theme. It's chaotic and unnerving, creating a stark contrast to Spider-Man's hopeful motif. This musical duality reinforces the film's central conflict, heroism versus chaos. Before Norman Osborn even puts on the mask, you can hear his descent into madness. Goblin's theme feels fractured, hinting at his unraveling psyche long before his alter ego takes control. That's the genius of Elfman. His music isn't just an accompaniment, it's a narrative device that tells the story ahead of the action. Now let's swing to Hans Zimmer's work in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Zimmer brings a contemporary edge to Spider-Man's world, blending orchestral elements with electronic beats to reflect the high-tech modern setting. But the standout here is Electro's theme, My Enemy. Electro's theme is as chaotic as the character himself. Zimmer uses layered voices and jarring electronic distortions to create a sense of disorientation. It's not just music, it's an auditory representation of Electro's fractured mind. And when the beat drops during the Times Square battle, it's pure adrenaline. What makes Zimmer's work so impactful is his willingness to take risks. By experimenting with unconventional sounds, he creates a soundtrack that feels fresh and uniquely tied to Andrew Garfield's Spiderman. Finally, we arrive at Michael Giacchino's score for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Giacchino leans into the youthful energy of this iteration, crafting a soundtrack that's playful, hopeful, and emotional. His main theme is an earworm, with its lively rhythm capturing the excitement of a teenage hero. But Giacchino doesn't shy away from emotional depth. In No Way Home, his score during Aunt May's death is stripped down and haunting, relying on soft piano and strings to convey Peter's grief. This simplicity allows you to fully feel the weight of the moment without being overwhelmed by the music. Giacchino also uses musical callbacks to connect Spider-Man's story to the broader Marvel universe. Subtle references to the Avengers theme remind us that Peter's story is part of something larger, even as it remains deeply personal. But here's the big takeaway. Spider-Man soundtracks succeed because they evolve with him. Each composer understands that music isn't just there to enhance action. It's there to reflect the character's growth, struggles, and triumphs. So what's the secret to writing a great soundtrack? It's all about finding the heart of the character and translating it into music. Moving on, we'll uncover how Spider-Man's soundtracks achieve this, and how you can use these principles to craft unforgettable scores of your own. And if you're loving this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon. Our next episode will take a closer look into the art of crafting compelling narratives, in how to write great fiction. What makes a soundtrack truly unforgettable? It's not just the notes, it's the way those notes connect us to the story, the characters, and the emotions at the heart of the journey. Spider-Man's soundtracks are extraordinary in this connection, showing us how music can elevate every moment, from quiet reflection to pulse-pounding action. Let's talk about emotional resonance. One of the most powerful aspects of Spider-Man's soundtracks is their ability to reflect Peter Parker's humanity. Danny Elfman's sweeping strings capture the loneliness of a hero carrying the world's weight. Hans Zimmer's sharp experimental tones convey the conflict of a young man caught between responsibility and love. And Michael Giacchino's scores balance youthful optimism with the growing pains of adulthood. A great score adds a new dimension to the narrative, so it definitely can. Listen to the haunting piano in Aunt May's death scene in No Way Home. Even without dialogue, that music tells you everything you need to know about Peter's grief, loss, and resilience. And it's not just the big moments. Spider-Man's soundtracks excel in creating memorable motifs. A recurring theme like the main Spider-Man anthem becomes a shorthand for the character's identity. When we hear Elfman's iconic theme or Giacchino's uplifting notes, we don't just think of Spider-Man, we feel his spirit. But here's where Spider-Man soundtracks shine even brighter. They grow with the character. The music in Tobey's trilogy starts hopeful, then becomes darker and more complex as Peter faces tougher challenges. Andrew's Spider-Man balances modern energy with moments of introspection. And Tom's scores evolve from playful youthfulness to a tone of maturity and independence in No Way Home. Just as a great soundtrack harmonizes the ordinary with the extraordinary, the Spider-Man No Way Home extended version deepens the rhythm of Peter's journey. This edition stitches 11 minutes of unseen footage into the fabric of the story, deleted scenes pulsing with unheard musical scores, adding new layers to the symphony of heroism and sacrifice. It's time to remix your understanding of the Webslinger saga by clicking the link in the description down below. This evolution mirrors our own emotional journey as viewers. The music grows with us, reflecting the highs and lows of life, making every swing through the city feel personal. Every unforgettable story has a rhythm, a heartbeat pulsing beneath its surface. Just as Spider-Man Homecoming's soundtrack underscores Peter Parker's struggle to balance school life and heroism, storytellers know that the right rhythm can turn moments into magic. Whether you're crafting a film, novel, or any creative project, syncing your work to that emotional beat is what makes it resonate. Let's take our next step now in understanding the art of storytelling. Click our next video on how to write great fiction to unveil the secrets of crafting narratives that captivate and inspire.